That's a long minute. And there we go. Good evening, everyone. I'll now call the December 13th, 2022 regular council meeting to order. The time is 7 p.m. I would first like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and unceded territory of the Katzie First Nation and the Kwantlen First Nation. Madam Clerk, can you please provide us with an overview of the meeting procedures?
Good evening. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be available to the public for playback on our website in accordance with Council Policy 3.12. The purpose of a council meeting is to enact powers given to council using bylaws and resolutions. This is the venue for debate of issues before voting on a bylaw or a resolution. Council would like to remind everyone present that serious issues are decided at council meetings which affect many people's lives. Therefore, we ask that you act with the appropriate decorum that a council meeting deserves. Commentary and conversations by the public are distracting. Should anyone disrupt the council meeting in any way, the meeting will be stopped and that person's behavior will be reprimanded. This meeting is being conducted through the city's One Meeting platform, which will allow members wishing to speak to be placed in a speaker queue and allow for the electronic capture of member votes and council decisions. Members of council are reminded that in order to be placed in the speaker queue, you must navigate to the speakers tab in the item during which you would like to speak and click on the blue Request to Speak button. You will need to do this each time you would like to speak. Members of the public in attendance in council chambers wanting to participate in public question period will be asked to come forward to the microphone. Please state your name and city of residence for the record before beginning your comments. For members of the public attending the meeting online who would like to participate in public question period, please register as a speaker by clicking on the microphone icon in the One Meeting portal. Please turn on your camera and provide your name and city of residence for the record before you begin your comments. Mr. Mayor, the first item on tonight's agenda is approval of the agenda.
Thank you. Does any member of council have any changes to the agenda? Seeing none. Oh, sorry. Seeing none, can I please have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated? The motion is moved by Councillor Carreras and seconded by Councillor Duick. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets.
Councillor Youssef and Councillor Dozy. Not coming up. In favor? Councillor Dozy, are you in favor? Yeah, okay. And Councillor Youssef as well? Okay, thank you.
I can't see anything, but do you see the results?
There we go.
Oh, there they are. It's unanimous. The motion has been to approve the agenda has been moved.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is adoption of minutes.
Thank you. First, we have the minutes of the special council meeting and the regular council meeting of November 29th, 2022. Are there any amendments to these minutes? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the special council and regular council minutes as circulated? I see it's moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Duick. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. That's what I like. It is unanimous and
Next, public hearing minutes.
yeah, sorry, I lost my spot here. The council minutes are adopted. Next, we have the report of the public hearing held on December 6th, 2022. Can I please have a motion to adopt the public hearing report as circulated? Yes.
Sorry.
Mhm.
It's not working.
Okay, can I get the moved by Councillor Carreras and seconded by Councillor Youssef? Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll put the vote. Okay, there it is. It is unanimous. The public hearing report is adopted.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 6.1, delegation from Hub Cycling by Jenny Wright and Jackie Chow.
Thank you very much. If you want to step up, you have 10 minutes to make your presentation, and welcome.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. We have a PowerPoint. There we go. I'm just not sure how to advance the slide. Is it just the arrow?
Just the arrow, yeah.
Just the arrow. Sorry. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna. Oh, a long microphone. Okay. So, good evening. My name is Jenny Wright, and I co-chair with Jackie Chow behind me, our local Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Hub Cycling Committee. I first want to congratulate all of you on being chosen by the citizens of Maple Ridge to represent us as your local government. And tonight we wanted to attend as a delegation and hope really by the end of this presentation that you have an understanding of who we are and what we do to foster a friendly, a cycling friendly environment here in Maple Ridge. So who is Hub Cycling? Well, we are a charitable not-for-profit organization that for the past 20 years has worked at removing barriers to cycling in Metro Vancouver while cultivating the health, environmental, and economic benefits of active transportation that cycling can bring. In a nutshell, the mission of Hub Cycling is to get more people cycling more often. I'd really like to call to attention the word connection on this slide. You're going to hear that word a lot tonight. Hub Cycling's corporate headquarters are in Vancouver, and there are 10 local committees. I'm just going to go ahead. There are 10 local committees made up of volunteers like ourselves in the various communities in Metro Vancouver. Here's a slide of all of the various committees. We're governed and supported by corporate headquarters and their board of directors. When we give feedback on cycling projects or proposals that are happening in Maple Ridge, we must seek the approval of Hub headquarters before we give the feedback to City Council and staff. We have regular meetings and workshops with Hub, and this gives us, all of us on local committees, the opportunity to build our knowledge about cycling research that's being done and resources that are available to share in our community. During these events, we also have a great opportunity to liaise and chat with the other committee in the area, the other local committees, and find out what's happening in their communities. So who are these people who make up this local committee? Well, we're really just a group of ordinary citizens from Maple Ridge, albeit we are avid cyclists and we have a lot of knowledge about cycling. But we are people who listen and advocate for citizens of Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows who want better and safer cycling. Some of us cycle to commute to work, some of us cycle for recreation, and some of us cycle to get to places we need to meet the needs in our daily lives day to day. Even though our reasons for cycling may differ, we all know through our experience that we need to have safe and connected cycling infrastructure. And that's what's needed. Sorry, I should have advanced that. And that's what's needed to get people out of their cars and onto their bicycles. Well, how do we know this? Because we are connected to the citizens of this community and they have told us. This slide up here, this is a picture of one of the many rides that we invite people in the community to come on. We do a couple a year and we take people on rides and so that we can highlight and encourage them to move about the community on bike routes that are established here. This is a way we can get feedback from people to see what their concerns are in their neighborhoods. And we also get feedback on the routes that we take them on. How else do we know what people in this community what they need to get cycling more often? Well, we participate in community events. We attend events like Getty Fest and Earth Day, and we have a chance to talk to the public at large. We have done surveys and asked for written answers to questions such as, what is the biggest barrier for you to cycle in this community? Other questions like, what do you need to change in this city so that you can move about on a bicycle instead of in a car? We often have a lot of people attending our booth at these events. For many years now, we have carried out our Cycle Recycle Free Draw. This is when we give bicycles away to adults and kids, use bikes, but we've given away hundreds of them. And our committee members, who are extremely handy mechanically, have fixed these bikes up, and it's really appreciated by the community for people that really would like to have bicycles. This past summer, Hub Cycling collaborated with the Katzie First Nation in Pitt Meadows to mentor Indigenous youth on bicycle maintenance, bicycle safety, and accessing the area on bicycle. Our local committee sourced bikes, repaired them, cleaned them up, and delivered them to the Katzie First Nation. And then all the kids that took the program got to keep the bikes. Another way we connect in the community is with our email list. At present, we have about 430 people on it. We share information about everything cycling, including cycling projects that are being designed so they can give their feedback to the city. And we ask people on our email list to give us feedback so that we can advocate for what they're asking for. Our Facebook group has about 290 members, and individually, all the people on the committee, we all belong to various Facebook groups in the community. We use this platform as well to ask for feedback from the community on their cycling experiences and concerns that they may have. We have monthly meetings, and all community members are welcome to attend. We would really love it if any of you, council or mayor, could attend, and we would love to arrange that. We often get new members coming to talk to us about experiences that they have when they're cycling in our community. We've collaborated with DPAC and PAC groups and shared information and resources. And in turn, we've gotten a lot of feedback about barriers that families and children in particular face, trying to actively transport themselves to school on bicycles and around our community. We also have a very close association with Maple Ridge Climate Hub. And as you know, transportation in Maple Ridge is the greatest source of GHG emissions here. So we have a common goal with Climate Hub. We want to get people out of their cars and onto their bicycles and using other active transportation modes. So we have a couple of cycling, Hub Cycling websites. We have one that comes through Hub Cycling Corporate, but this is a new one that's up on the screen here. This is our new one that we launched in the last year. It's been extremely well received by the community. We get between 200 to 400 views a month, and we receive emails from viewers who have questions or concerns about barriers they experience when they cycle here. Many visitors that come to the site are asking for safe local routes to get from A to B so they can carry out their business on bicycle. And so our local routes page, on there we outline different routes to get different places, key places in Maple Ridge. And we have maps on there. So we really try and help people figure out the safest way to get around Maple Ridge on a bike. So as you can see, we are much connected to our community. So what has the community told us? Well, not surprisingly, many people have told us they want to cycle more, but they have also shared with us the barriers that they face when wanting to cycle more. In the interest of time, we've chosen two of the main barriers that we hear about. The most reported reason that people in Maple Ridge don't cycle is that they do not feel safe on the bike routes that we have. As well, we often hear that bike routes stop and start, or may feel safe part of the way, and then they don't feel safe. So it's very difficult for people to actually move around on their bicycle in the city. So the slide that you see up here, the map on the left, these purple lines are bike routes that we have, some of our bike routes in Maple Ridge. You can see there's quite a few up there. The purple and the orange lines, all of them are felt. This has all been collated through Hub in various communities around Metro Vancouver, but this is our community. And it's been collated and felt, these routes that are up here are deemed not comfortable for most people. So they are comfortable for none. They are comfortable for a few. They're comfortable for some, but they're not comfortable for most. And in order to get people cycling and on their bicycles, we need to think about AAA cycling, all ages and ability. And usually all ages and ability cycle routes are comfortable for most. I'm just going to talk a little bit about comfortable for most. So according to the Metro Vancouver State of Cycling Report, I would highly recommend that you read that if you haven't already. It's a research paper done by Kay Teschke and some of the other UBC researchers. And in it, they comment a conclusion. Throughout the region, in areas where the network has grown and improved, the rate of collisions involving people who cycle has dropped, and cycling trips have increased significantly. The largest gains have been made where homes and key destinations are linked by a cohesive network of cycling routes comfortable for most people, and where programs and policies encourage cycling and protect vulnerable road users.
Sorry, you have about half a minute left.
Really? Okay. Data on this same report shows that only 36% of our cycling network in Maple Ridge is comfortable for most. This is the 5th lowest percentage out of 23 cities and communities that are studied as part of this Metro Vancouver cycling research. The second reason, I'm not going to go into it too much, but safe end of trip cycling storage is important. So the last slide, the last comments. So now here comes the time to ask the question, how can we connect with you, Mayor and Council, so that we can work on making our city of Maple Ridge a bike-friendly community? As you've heard tonight, we're very connected with the community. We know what the community wants. We have communication network and give feedback to city staff, but we would really like the opportunity to meet with each and every one of you or as a group. We've sent out letters, invited you on rides. Some people don't ride, we get that. But if you can't ride, don't want to ride, we're really happy to meet you at a meeting. So we just really want to know, we know that you've, most of you have done the hub surveys, you've endorsed the hub platform during the campaign, and we know that you want a better cycling community, but we just want to work with you. So we look forward to you connecting with us so that we can do that.
Thank you. Sorry, I don't mean to rush you off.
Well, I did rush there, but I wasn't sure how strict you were on I wanted to get that last point in because, we really just want connection.
That's fine. That's fine. We're going to move to are there any questions from council? I see Councillor Carreras.
Not necessarily a question, just thank you very much for your presentation. And maybe just a little bit, how can you connect with us? And I think you being here tonight is a great way to connect with us. I always appreciate it when people come and present to all of us as a team. That's one of the things I always appreciated at school board, is when people presented and we all heard the same thing at the same time. A mayor and council email. I think we got some emails this week. Always appreciate that. And these are great ways to share your knowledge with us. And I'm not sure if anybody else has anything to add, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. And always keep it in the back of my mind too. For me, it's my kids. How do they get from point A to point B when they don't drive yet?
Yeah, exactly. And we've dropped
Thank
some literature off there for everybody if you want to contact us. And hopefully we've got a few people that have responded about coming for a ride. And we have a meeting as well set up. So we're hoping that we can get everybody at some point just to have a chat.
I think you have me on one of those rides, but I'm hoping you're not going to take me very far.
No, we'll take you wherever you want to go.
Across the street. Are there any other questions from council? No. On behalf of council, thank you very much for your presentation. We know how important this is. We heard it time and time again during the campaign, and as we continue to move forward with our own strategic objectives, it's important to take into consideration what is being presented to us, and absolutely looking forward to, seeing the good parts of the ride, but more importantly, seeing what we need to do to make it better.
Yeah, exactly. The right infrastructure in the right place makes all the difference. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 6.2, a delegation from Steve Ranta on recreation and the environment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranta. You have 10 minutes.
I can do it. I know it. Mayor and Council, Steve Ranta, 21814 126 Avenue. Over the past few years, I've been talking with council representing myself and also the Climate Hub. I understand Kirk was here last week, both at formal meetings and as individuals, about how we can take effective action to fight climate change. And we're very happy to meet with councillors. Not all, but the majority of the answers were along the lines of, we don't need council to make a declaration of a climate emergency. Everybody in the building knows we are all concerned about reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And we are always looking for opportunities to do so. Well, in terms of opportunities to address climate change, this year's Parks and Rec survey and planning so far has been one big missed opportunity, a big fail. The proposed final draft of the new Parks, Recreation, and Culture Master Plan is not progress. It is much too narrowly focused, and it's a huge step backwards, particularly in regard to climate change, from the work that was done over a decade ago, if you read the existing 2010 master plan. The narrowly focused corporate-style draft before council is disconnected from established parks, recreation, and culture planning, and also disconnected from the stated values of many new councillors who told us they want to build community and take effective actions to address climate change. Let's take a look at some representative extracts of the good work which is in the existing 2010 plan, the types of things that are missing or minimized in this year's draft, with a particular eye to the concerning issue of climate change. This is kind of my own words here. The existing information, 2010, 2001, 2017 culture plan, Parks, Recreation, and Culture plans from 2001 and 2010 were broadly based, identified community values, priorities, and strategies, and addressed measurement, monitoring, and consistency, both across departments and across time. In particular, those existing plans identify maintaining the environment as a community priority and recommended a number of useful strategies. This information should be used to inform current planning, particularly in areas of notable public interest that weren't targeted by recent surveys. When you read the 2010 plan, it starts off with a tremendously strong vision. Not only is the plan very much more thorough, more complete, but it is a more human, community-based, forward-looking plan. Here's the first words. Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows are physically beautiful communities with extensive forests, mountains, rivers, creeks, lakes, and agricultural lands. People choose to live here because of the natural and rural environment. And then later on, a wide variety of linked parks, trails, and recreation facilities support diverse activities, resulting in a healthy, active community. People work together at all levels to ensure that the community retains the characteristics that drew them here originally. Skip to the public interest section. Here's an extract. The health of the environment ranks high on the list of priorities for residents. The public is expecting to see energy consciousness, conservation, the health of the environment ranks high on the list of priorities for residents. The public is expecting to see energy consciousness, conservation, and environmental sensitivity in operations and planning. Trails and greenways, I see it's addressed a little bit in the plan that's before you now that was done in 2022. Much more thorough in 2010. Here's some examples. Beautification talks about fruit trees, recognize the multiple social, physical, and recreational values of urban agriculture, and increase the number of opportunities, especially in higher density areas. Work with the planning department to encourage community gardens and private developments, especially multifamily. All these things are important if you want to pursue effective policies for climate change. Sustainability, a goal of demonstrating innovation by creating a policy that all new municipal buildings achieve minimum energy performance targets and creating a green building program for residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. That's a lot more progressive than the recent council that was lagging behind other municipalities in terms of the provincial step code. It was recognized 12 years ago that what a value was to create a green building program and work with other departments to improve consistency with regard to sustainability measures. So we don't get a park and rec plan that virtually ignores any issues about climate change. And here's some ideas about transportation, which haven't been reflected in what TransLink is doing for us. And these were requests 12 years ago. Last time I heard TransLink, they said, no new bus routes, couple more buses on the routes we already have. And that was considered as parks and recreation, as part of our culture, as part of our lifestyle, as part of our health. The 2017 cultural survey and plan said the key priorities for Maple Ridge, 49% celebrating the natural environment. That was the highest percentage. And the guiding principles in that plan 5 years ago, Maple Ridge's cultural development is sustainable and ensures a high quality of life for residents. Nature is deeply valued and enhances our experience of arts and culture. In implementation, many, many pages in the 2010 report on implementation. Here's something that sticks out. Initiatives which contribute to positive environmental impacts should enjoy a higher priority than those that do not. They talked about measurement tools. They said the existing system in 2010 was based on 25 benefits and a large number of indicators identified in 2001 under the heading Measuring Success. But they also wanted to design and implement a measurement tool that relates to the values and objectives that were added in the 2010 master plan. And staff may need to consider reviewing the need for a full or partial update after 5 years, not 12 years, and not a much more narrowly focused plan that you have before you. These are my words here. We should be ensuring consistent progressive action. Climate change is recognized as a serious challenge to our existence. Yet many relative observations and recommendations already included 12 years ago in the 2010 Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Plan haven't been followed through on. We can't afford to waste time on stopping and starting or even going backwards, as in this year's culture planning and rec planning.
You have 1 minute, sir.
How do we make sure that we work in identifying community values and strategies in regard to climate change results in actions that are effectively implemented across time and across all departments? Well, this is the ask, and I think they all make a lot of sense for a community that's becoming more committed to climate change and more committed to electing leaders that are going to find a way to take effective action. Include those things that are in the old Parks, Recreation, and Culture Master Plan in the updated one. And to make sure there's follow through, communicate a clear system-wide statement of commitment and goals to reduce greenhouse gases. Assign dedicated staff to advise, liaise, and provide information and monitor progress, which is being done in other communities similar in size or smaller than Maple Ridge. And implement policy to measure accountability in meeting these goals in planning and actions across all departments. And I hope that a progressive council will see that this is the way to make sure that the community feels in safe hands when they're dealing with issues like climate change.
Thank you very much. Open up for discussion for council. We have, I don't see anything here. I don't see any. Oh, no, there it is. Councilor Carreras.
Sorry, I promised to be super quick. Thank you, Steve. Just because you alluded to the input is still open until, just so everybody knows, till I believe December 31st on the PRC before. So it's not before council quite yet. It doesn't come before us until January after the final input session. And you also referenced a lot of transit stuff. And just a note that the active transportation plan is still in the works. I think it's around stage 3 or stage 4. So there'll be lots of opportunities to give input there. And I welcome and encourage everyone to please give input, because that's help shape what we have. So thank you so much for tonight. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew there's still time to give input
We
into
look
it.
forward to
Thank you.
that, but I'll note that the survey that residents are asked to complete, I think it's only got 4 questions on it.
Yeah, and I think there's an open question at the end too to give comments, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered for approval in one motion unless a member of council wishes to discuss an item and requests that it be excluded. Each item removed from the consent agenda will be debated and voted on separately by council.
Thank you very much. There are 7 items on tonight's consent agenda. Does any member of council wish to remove any items for discussion? No. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, can you please read the motion?
That the recommendations contained in the following items on the December 13th, 2022 regular council consent agenda be approved. Item 7.1, Development Agreements Committee Minutes. Item 7.2, Environmental Advisory Committee Minutes. Item 7.3, School District Number 42. Item 7.4, Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Catesy Seniors Network. Item 7.5, Festival Grant Program Allocations Intake 2, 2022. Item 7.6, 2023 council meeting schedule, and item 7.7, 2023 council appointments to regional government boards, advisory committees and commissions, standing and statutory committees, and outside agencies.
Thank you. Can I have a mover and a seconder? It is moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. And the motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 10.1, application 2019-366-RZ to rezone the property at 11960 221 Street from RS1 to RT2 to allow the future construction of a triplex. This item is to consider third reading of 2 bylaws. The first is official community plan amending bylaw number 7870-2022, a bylaw to redesignate the subject property from ground-oriented multifamily to single-family residential. The second bylaw is zone amending bylaw number 7604-2020, a bylaw to rezone the subject property from single detached residential to ground-oriented residential infill. These bylaws were the subject of a public hearing on December 6, 2022.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by, drum roll, by Councillor Carreras. Thank you. The motion to give third reading to official community plan amending bylaw number 7870-2022 and zone amending bylaw number 7604-2020 has been moved by Councillor Youssef and by Councillor Carreras. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. The motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 10.2, application 2018-498-RZ to rezone the property at 21640 124th Avenue to RT2 to permit the future construction of 3 dwelling units. This item is to consider adoption of zone amending bylaw number 7533-2019, a bylaw to rezone the subject property to ground-oriented residential infill. This bylaw was the subject of public hearings on May 19th and October 20th, 2020.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? I see it is moved by Councillor Doze and, by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. The motion to adopt Maple Ridge Zone amending bylaw number 7533-2019 has been moved by Councillor Youssef and Councillor Carreras, seconded by Councillor Carreras. Is there any discussion? Being no discussion, we'll call the question. Please vote on your tablets. Excellent, and it is unanimous. The motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 10.3, application 2017-262-RZ, 2019-064-RZ, 2018-182-RZ for the properties at 11040, 11045, and 11060 Cameron Court. This item is to consider adoption of Maple Ridge Road Closure Bylaw number 7864-2022, a bylaw to close and remove the dedication of highway on a portion of Cameron Court. Notice of intention was advertised in the Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows newspaper on November 18th and November 25th, 2022.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? The motion to adopt Maple Ridge Road Closure Bylaw number 7864-2022 has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Doze. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll call the question. Please vote on your tablets.
Okay. In favor? In favor? Okay.
And it is unanimous. The motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.1, non-farm use application 2022-244-AL for 22351 144th Avenue. We have a staff report recommending that the non-farm use application to construct a covered children's play structure to permit a miniature golf course, a high ropes course, a zip line, additional staff housing, and an extension to the existing lodge be forwarded to the Agricultural Land Commission for the review and consideration.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? The motion to forward non-farm use application 2022-244-AL to the Agricultural Land Commission for their review and consideration has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Duick. Is there any discussion? Seeing no. Sorry.
Councillor Youssef.
Sorry, I don't see it online, but Councillor Youssef, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick through you to staff. If memory serves me correctly, there was another golf course within the municipality that's actually quite close to where this is and was also an agricultural land, and there was an issue over that. Is there an ability to just give us a real synopsis as to the difference between the one that was not allowed and this one that would be allowed?
Mr. Hartman, do you have any? Mr. Goddard?
I'm not aware of a golf course in this vicinity. Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I was referring to the Heather Hills course.
Oh, that the Gordy Robson. Okay, there was, yes, it's not in this vicinity. It's over on 256th area and 126th Avenue. That was a course that was created on a property that was in the ALR, and it was originally done for private purposes, I believe, and then was expanded to allow public to attend. And bylaw enforcement action was required at the time. And I do believe it was considered by the Agricultural Land Commission and then was denied. So the applicant or the owner at the time removed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was my question.
Seeing no other discussion, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. A motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.2, non-farm use application 2022-389-AL for 23580 Jim Robson Way. We have a staff report recommending that the non-farm use application to permit a fourth ice sheet at the Planet Ice Maple Ridge Arena Complex be forwarded to the Agricultural Land Commission for the review and consideration.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? go. The motion to forward non-farm use application 2022-389-AL to the Agricultural Land Commission for their review and consideration has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Is there any discussion? Councillor Youssef.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Really quickly, just want to commend staff on bringing this forward. It's much needed and of course been talked about quite a bit in our community. And I'm hoping that we can get through the ALC rather quickly and begin the work that's much needed for our community rather soon. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.3, application 2022-339-RZ for 21668 and 21680 Dewey Trunk Road. We have a staff report recommending that zone amending bylaw number 7895-2022 to rezone from RS1 single detached residential to RM2 medium density apartment residential to permit the future construction of 49 residential apartment units be given first reading, and that the applicant provide further information as outlined in the report.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? It has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Duick. Any discussion? Councillor Youssef.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I promise not to do this on every single item. I do support this going forward and I understand the reasons for it. However, I was hoping to see some commercial spaces on the bottom, as that would create that little bit of a neighborhood, kind of a neighborhood node, if you will, coupled with the fuel station that's just up the road from there. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's my comment.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Oh. Sorry, I'm a little bit quick. It's Councillor Carreras. Yeah, it's not showing
Thanks.
up on mine.
Oh, okay, because yes, I did do it early on.
Now it
I
is.
see myself on there. Thank you very much. I know this is first reading, so we're just at the initial stages of this and the developer still has an opportunity to build out on this. I just want to say I'm happy to let it go through now and to support it. I still have some concerns around 4 versus 6. I think that stems mostly from there's nothing really around there of that end. We haven't passed the transit corridor one yet. Again, looking to the future, I just want to say that hopefully when this comes before us next time, that it has some things that incorporate a building for the future. If you want to go up, that it's going to have some things that we'll be looking for, such as, bike parking. And these are things we've talked about too, bike parking, electrical. For me, I like to see some larger units too for families. So I'm happy to let it go through, but I will be looking for some more when it comes back to us when it's built out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Not seeing any, I will call the question. Please vote. And it is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.4, application 2021-104-RZ for 22337 St. Anne Avenue. We have a staff report recommending that official community plan amending bylaw number 7896-2022 be given first and second reading and forwarded to public hearing. And that zone amending bylaw number 7720-2021 to rezone from RS1 single detached residential to RM2 medium density apartment residential to permit the future construction of a market-oriented apartment building of approximately 20 units be given second reading as amended and forwarded to public hearing.
And thank you very much. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? And it's moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I gotta make sure here. Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. The motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.5, application 2022-304-RZ for 20644 Dudney Trunk Road. We have a staff report recommending that zone amending bylaw number 7898-2022 to allow for a site-specific text amendment to the CS1 service commercial zone to allow for a group child care center be given first and second reading and forwarded to public hearing.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? And it is moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Any discussion? Seeing, oh, there it is. Councillor Carreras.
Sorry, thank you. Through you to staff. Just a quick question. I don't know if I missed it in here. Do we know what type of childcare? 0 to 2.5, 2.5 to 5, before and after school care, all of the above. I mean, I'm happy to have any childcare in our community. It's much needed. Just some childcare is more needed than others. So just curious.
I don't believe we have that information for you this evening, but we could certainly send you an email about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question and vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.6, application 2022-370-RZ for zoning bylaw housekeeping amendments. We have a staff report recommending that zone amending bylaw number 7894-2022 to allow for housekeeping amendments to the zoning bylaw number 7600-2019 be given first and second reading, and that a public hearing be waived in accordance with section 4642 of the Local Government Act.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? It has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Dewick. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablets. And it is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.7, application 2016-202-RZ for 20556 Dudney Trunk Road. We have a staff report recommending that zone amending bylaw number 7309-2017 to rezone from RS1 single detached residential to CD-2-21 comprehensive development to allow for 4 mixed-use buildings with approximately 576 units in total be given second reading as amended and forwarded to public hearing.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? It has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Any discussion? Councillor Youssef.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rather quickly, again, happy to see this come forward. This is the type of development that we need in our city, and that will bring not only the jobs with the commercial spaces, but also some of the gathering spaces. If I'm not mistaken, some of the drawings did show a celebration hall or a gathering hall, which is, again, desperately needed in our community, as well as bring in the housing stock that is needed all around. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Councillor Carreras. It doesn't show.
The system doesn't like me today. Maybe it's purposely blocking me out.
Time delay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just quickly, just echoing on Councillor Youssef, this is great to see this project. It has a lot of pieces to it, in particular rentals. Rentals are very much needed within our community. The only thing I just want to share outside of the things that I've been bringing up of late, just as things are moving through, is again, bike parking, not just because they had hub here today, but I did ask this before. And if there's possible any larger suites, because families are moving into, and then as we have families moving into these suites, the only thing I just ask is when we look at these things, and again, this is just general, that we look at safe routes for kids to get to and from school after we build these big projects, because this one is on that S curve in Dudney. And they do have to cross that really difficult area to get to the catchment schools, which have lots of space in the west, which is great, just that we want to make sure they get there safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Time delay? No, I will call the question. Please vote on your tablet. It is unanimous. The motion has carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.8, application 2021-233-RZ for 20383 Ospring Street. We have a staff report recommending that zone amending bylaw number 7785-2021 to rezone from RS1 single detached residential to R1 single detached low density urban residential to permit a future 2-lot subdivision be given second reading and forwarded to a public hearing.
Thank you. Anyone like to move the recommendation? It's been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Duick. Any discussion? Not seeing any discussion. We'll call the vote. Please vote on your tablet. It is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.9, application 2018-498-DP/DVP for 21640 124th Avenue. We have a staff report recommending that the corporate officer sign and seal 2018-498-DVP to reduce the lot width and rear lot line setback, and 2018-498-DP to permit the construction of 3 residential units designed in the form of courtyard housing, respecting the subject property. 17 notices were mailed out and 0 pieces of correspondence were received regarding this application.
Thank you. Anyone like to move the recommendation? It's been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Duick. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. Please vote on your tablet. It is unanimous. The motion has been carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 11.10, BC Destination Development Funding Expression of Interest. We have a staff report recommending that an expression of interest be submitted to the Destination Development Fund, seeking funds for the development of a visitor portal and digital app. Mr. Westover is here to provide an overview of this item.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Westover.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, colleagues, members of the public. My name is Tyler Westover for the public record, Director of Economic Development here with the City of Maple Ridge. So this item here, Council, very exciting from our standpoint. We've had a cross-divisional, cross-departmental meeting to see what are some shovel-ready projects that we can bring forward for this one-time grant that the BC government has forward for us. Excuse me. It came forward that there's a potential of an app, a development, a portal that we can have so that we can actually get good data into our community, good data into our industries here within Maple Ridge, and to be able to highlight some of the really high level experiences that we do have here, whether that's nature-based, whether that's with some of the film and locations that we have here with filming, whether that's some of our restaurants that we have, and to be able to see that grow over time. So this is funding that we are going to this fund here at about $125,000. No impact to our budget here as well. It is an expression of interest, and we would move to the next stage if it is successful through it. By January 6th, we would be shortlisted and then have a kind of a full form here. So we do have a number of different partners that we've listed here. Those would still need to be full and outright confirmed. It is the intent to look with regional partners, including Chamber Business Improvement Association and others, where they would be a part of this, and certainly having our local business community as a part of. So any questions certainly here for it. This is something that we see as very exciting and an opportunity for us to see some good data build, as well as pushing out some experiences that we know the region is really desperate for.
Thank you very much. Would anyone like to move the recommendation? It has been moved by Councillor Youssef and seconded by Councillor Carreras. Any discussion? Let me see. Yeah, Councillor Youssef.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Westover, for the brief presentation and report. This is a great initiative. I wholeheartedly support it and commend you on bringing this forward, having visited other municipalities where they have their own homegrown apps, as I'm envisioning this will be. It definitely made the visit much more enjoyable, and I was able to find my way a lot quicker and easier, and certainly made for a return trip to those municipalities where there were great experiences. It also fits in well with what I have experienced over the past 4 years with the previous mayor and council in that data-driven decision-making. And I believe this is also going to be very helpful moving forward with economic development and focusing in on the areas where we're seeing that growth, and those data and areas that we can capitalize on that moving forward. So very, very pleased to see this. Excellent. Thank you. And happy to support it moving forward, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call a question. Please vote on your tablets. It is unanimous. The motion has been carried. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 14, public question period. Participants in public question period are reminded that there should be no discussion of public hearing bylaws which have not yet reached conclusion. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to speak to council. A second opportunity may be provided once all speakers in the queue have had an opportunity to speak. The total time allotted for public question period is 15 minutes. If you wish to inquire about additional opportunities to address council, please contact the corporate officer. For members of the public in attendance in council chambers wanting to participate in public question period, please come forward to the microphone. Please state your name and city of residence for the record before beginning and address your comments to the mayor. For members of the public attending the meeting online who would like to participate in public question period, please register as a speaker by clicking on the microphone icon in the One Meeting portal. Please turn on your camera and state your name and city of residence for the record before you begin and address your comments to the mayor.
Thank you. Please state your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Bob Stewart. I've lived in the 22100 block of Selkirk Avenue for the last 47 plus years. I have a question for council, but I would like to make a short background presentation to provide context for my question. It might be slightly longer than 2 minutes, but I think it's important. In the early morning hours, December 5th, 22, my neighbors were awoken by their truck alarm. My neighbors threw on some clothes and went outside where they found the interior of their truck on fire. He took off his hoodie and managed to put the flames out when he went to open the passenger side door, he found a person crouched beside his vehicle with bags full of the truck's contents. Under the pretext of waiting for an ambulance, the person was kept there until arrival of the RCMP. Excuse me. Upon review of the neighbor's security surveillance system, they saw this person get in the truck and start a fire with the truck's insurance papers and remove bags with the truck's contents. The RCMP told the victims that they would take the perpetrator back to the station, but wouldn't charge them and would soon let them go. My neighbors protested, but to no avail. I know the city has a contract with the RCMP, and I expect there is a clause within the RCMP agreement to protect the safety of the city's residents and their property. Although I understand but do not agree with minor criminal offenses not being dealt with. This was an incident of arson and theft, and if not dealt with quickly by my neighbors, could have resulted in far more serious consequences than a burnt truck. Finally, my question to the city: does the city agree with the actions taken in this instance by the RCMP? And are the RCMP living up to their contractual obligations to the city? And I would request a formal reply, and I have further information available with the police file number. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You actually had 7 seconds left.
Oh,
Very good.
not fast.
Is there anything that we're prepared to at this point? Okay. Yeah, we'll have to link in with the RCMP on this incident and see what we come up with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in chambers? Please step on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first off, I want to congratulate you on your successful endeavor becoming our mayor. So congratulations. sort of in conjunction with the gentleman who sat over here who spoke about environmental issues, the climate change, the lady spoke about bikes. I take environmental
Sorry,
issues
can
very.
I just jump in 1 second, please? You need to state your name and your address, please.
Oh, sorry, John Cowan, Maple Ridge, BC. Okay. Okay, so I take environmental issues very seriously, recycling, climate change issues. As I think you probably know, most municipalities in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, who's had it for a long time, have bylaws to police idling engines of automobiles. Vancouver's had it for many years. I saw it in action down in Vancouver when I worked downtown. Bylaw number 9344, item 2.7. Port Moody has a similar bylaw, number 2859. Coquitlam just implemented one recently where they issue $150 fines. We need to have that here, folks. There's so many people in our community that I see every day abusing the environmental issues. They sit in their cars at curbside and Tim Hortons parking lots with it, and it's just so unnecessary. And if we don't change our ways, and if any of you in this room have children or grandchildren, then you understand where I'm coming from. We got to do our part. Now, I did get an email today from Michelle Adams, and she said in part, to advise the engineering department does have a draft report to go before council in the new year. We will be introducing an idling section very similar to the other municipalities. My question is, why do you need to get the engineering department involved? I mean, it's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. We have to do our part now. And I would ask that you get a bylaw implemented ASAP and only do it, not if it's just going to be on the books. You got to have the bylaw officers to go out there and ticket people. And not that I want to see necessarily as a cash grab, but that's the only way people are going to get the message. You got to get them in the pocketbook. You need bylaw officers that are going to go out there. And trust me, it wouldn't be hard to do. I could go there for a bylaws officer one day and I could make you hundreds of dollars. So please, I hope you would get this going ASAP, not when the engineering department clears the way. So any questions?
Thank you very much. Mr. Pollock?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification, the reason that engineering is involved, the bylaw in question would be the highway and traffic bylaw. And it will be coming forth. So that's the reason that engineering is involved. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Mr. McCowan.
Okay.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak? Anyone online? I don't see anybody online. So that will be the end of public question period. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 15, Mayor and Councillor verbal reports.
Does any member of council have anything to report? Councillor Youssef.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll try to be brief. This weekend, my family and I had the pleasure of participating in Firefighters for Families. And I'm happy to read in a newspaper that Maple Ridge raised over $12,000. So good job, Maple Ridge. And this weekend, I'd like to also plug that there will be the Christmas Convoy Parade, which does benefit both the Christmas Hamper Charity and the Friends in Need Food Bank. And while we're on the topic of the Friends in Need Food Bank, I'd like to put a plea out to our community to do what they can. There's great demand that's coming forward to the food bank. And of course, it's an unfortunate fact that many families are accessing the services of the food bank. However, luckily, we have a strong food bank in place and we are able to meet that demand. And I implore the community at large to open up their pocketbooks as much as they can. I understand it's tough times all around, but there are those that are definitely less fortunate than us that need the assistance. And this is the time of the year where we shouldn't be going without. None of our neighbors should be going without. We ought to step up and take care of one another. And with that, I'll close out by wishing everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any other?
Councillor Dewick.
Sorry. Oh, Councillor Dewick. Go ahead, Councillor Dewick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want to echo Councillor Youssef's comments about lots of groups out there volunteering, collecting Christmas hamper funds, food for the Friends in Need Food Bank, donating it. There's just a whole group of people really stepping up to help those that need a little extra help. Yesterday, Epic Homes donated $3,000 to support some teenage hampers through the Christmas Hamper Society. So that was really lovely of them to do that. Today, several of us went over to the Christmas cheer at Ridge Meadows Senior Center, and it was really nice to have them be able to have a social again. Everybody was pretty excited to hear the carolers, and we had entertainment, and it was really nice to see the seniors glowing. They were very happy to be there, so they did a great job. And I just want to really compliment staff. It's been a busy time since we got elected this council. We have done a lot of work around orientation and strategic planning. And I have to say that our staff really stepped up and went above and beyond. Every department was involved. It was amazing, the effort and the collaboration and consultation that we all went through. I felt it was extremely well done. And I think as somebody that's been here for a few of those sessions, but for the new people, I think you will agree with me. It was really well done, and it really helps new councillors and the mayor really understand the process and how certain policies and procedures come into play. What areas can we grow? We hear presentations like this evening. And then finally, I would just like to wish everybody a really great Christmas break, and hopefully you get to spend time with your families, because this is our last meeting until the new year. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Carreras.
Thank you. And I do just want to echo Councillor Duick's comment about the orientation as one of those newbies. I truly, truly appreciated the amount of time and information that went into those sessions, not only just getting to know sort of who's who with the city, but also the conversations that we had and starting to sort of get a grasp on what's happening and setting our course for the next 4 years. I also just want to do a huge thank you to staff. An article came out around the emergency shelter beds this last week, and winter hit us a bit earlier than anticipated. And when there was a gap in the community, city really stepped up and moved everything that they could to make sure that the unhoused community members that we had a warm place to stay. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. I know that there were some staff who were up all night volunteering time to make sure that our citizens had a safe place. So a huge thank you. And thank you to everyone here, and to wish you all just happy holidays and all the best for 2023. Goodness, I can't believe it's almost 2023 already, but looking forward to the new year. But I hope you can enjoy your time and if you get a chance, go down, take a look at the Memorial Peace Park here. There's great lights out there, great times to walk around. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? If Mr. Councillor Dode.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It looked like well, I guess it looked like we are having an end of year statement or call at this point, and definitely it comes to mind when you look at what the staff and my colleagues have done here, as a matter of fact, and I can see a very wonderful relationship being developed. I can only say Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, extending same to your families, hoping that by the grace of God, you will be able to come here again strong and ready to move us on. I really cannot do anything without you guys. You can see today, I wasn't even able to move one single motion because this system is still denying me the opportunity because I'm not used to it. Therefore, I will be relying on you, you know what I mean? Anyways, but I want to say a very big thank you to you all and wish that God will continue to bless each and every one of you in everything you do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And I guess I will chime in too. I'm going to cherish the last few days of 2022 because it's been an exciting year and it's coming to a close, but I just want to echo what everyone else has been saying. When it comes to, you go through the whole election and it's great there. You've got this massive vibe of yay, we won, but now the work gets started and we can't do the work without staff. And it's been great to see and work side by side with you as we've gone through the onboarding and the training. And, I think we feel a lot closer to where we are with each other, which is great because we do have a lot of work to do in 2023 around the corner. So I am looking forward to that. But like I said, I'm going to cherish the rest of 2022. And I hope that you do the same with your families. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And just, take the time as you need it now, because we are going to hit the ground running in 2023. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, what's the next item on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, the next item on tonight's agenda is item 16, notices of motion and matters for future meetings.
Are there any notices of motion? Seeing none?
Mr. Mayor, the last item on tonight's agenda is item 17, adjournment.
Well, thank you very much. We've reached the end of tonight's agenda. The time is 8:10. We are now adjourned, everyone. Thank you very much.